The following is a Cairo 7 Family Connection special presentation.
It's kind of scary when you never know who's going to wake you up in the morning or what you're going to wake up to.
There's some change, bro?
It is the life they live. Some choose to be here. Others feel they have no other choice.
How about the rest of yours?
There they stand, day after day, with no direction home.
I've been homeless now 2 or 3 times, and it kills me. Every single time it kills me.
When darkness falls, where do they go?
This is my bed.
They have fallen into the streets, shedding a past they wish to forget. Who are they really? They may not be who you think they are.
I want them to know that we're people just like them, and we have hearts, and that we're smart, we're not stupid.
Tonight, in a Cairo 7 Family Connection special, we explore the lives of young people who, for one reason or another, are without a stable home.
This is seriously the nicest place I've ever lived in.
We hear about their triumphs and their struggles.
What's keeping me going right now and inspiring me to get off is my family. My family worries about me.
We visit with parents who feel they are losing their children.
When he looked up and we got closer and we saw that it was our son, it just hit us like a ton of bricks.
And we learn what we can do to help those living in the shadows.
Never stop letting them know you care. Never give up. They need to know that they are not alone in this world.
They are often ignored, forgotten, and swept underneath society's carpet. Tonight, we search for a better understanding of who they are and what happens when the streets are your home. It's easy to pass by young people you see on the streets and think they're responsible for the lives they live. They choose to be here. But that's not always the case. Hello, I'm Steve Rafer.
And I'm Angela Russell. Whether we like it or not, the street kids we see every day are part of our community. They live here too. Their stories are complicated, sobering, but sometimes quite humorous, even uplifting.
This Ave is my Ave, you stupid windbags. You're such a poser. Go back to Broadway. No public restroom, just use the alley. And I'll lift your wallet while you pee.
His street name is Shadowhawk, and the Ave he's referring to in song is University Way between 42nd and 50th Street, just blocks away from the University of Washington campus. Here you will find a dense population of young people between the ages of 12 and 24 that are without a stable place to sleep.
For change for pot.
That are without a permanent home.
Man, he jingled a lot, and he couldn't give out a quarter.
Shadowhawk could be considered the mayor of the Ave. Everybody knows him. He's been out here for 5 years.
I was adopted when I was just a baby. Grew up in Lahaina. Dad got a promotion. Moved up here when I was 15. Then they kicked me out when I was 18. I got in a fight with my dad. It didn't go well. Need food? Anything helps. And he said a few words, and I said a few back. Exchanged like that until I punched him. And that was that. It's just my own mistake, my own stupidity. Spare cigarette, man? Whatever. I was kind of an asshole kid. I was out there, I was causing trouble. I like to do that. And now I know what trouble gets you. Spare change? Awesome. Thank you.
Shadowhawk tried living in various shelters and group homes in the Seattle area, but nothing seemed to fit. For the past 3 years, the Ave has been his home.
I've been out here so long, off and on. Group home here, an apartment there, eviction, and just couldn't incorporate myself into regular society. And it's hard if you're out here for a while and you don't know how to act. You learn how to act out here, but you don't learn how to act in normal situations with upstanding citizens. I think she found some more. Thanks so much. And thank you for filling my day with class and beauty.
He humors those around him with every chance he gets.
Dumpster diving for expired food.
But most of Shadowhawk's energy is spent on the streets, asking for spare change.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hooray! Thank you, Lord, for drunk men who like to give money. It's usually the only way we get any money.
Like Shadowhawk, everyone has a reason for being here, but not everyone's story is the same.
Mishka, Lulu, come on. Lulu. Lulu, come. Good girl.
22-year-old Blue McKeon was born in Ukraine. He was adopted by a family in the Seattle area when he was 6. When he turned 16, life at home began to turn sour.
I went through a huge, kind of typical rebellious teenage stage, along with extremely different political point of views in the household.
Blue says his parents didn't approve.
They didn't really provide much except for shelter and food. There was not any type of connection. It was to the point where there was a lot of verbal abuse in the house, and there was a couple moments of violence, but of physical violence. And after that, I was just kind of done with it. I dropped out of school for the third time, I think, and they weren't having it because I wanted to get my GED so I could move on faster where I wanted to be. So it was a mutual get out and I'll leave.
Blue says he lived for a while in a shelter in Kent, then from time to time on the sofas of friends. When he exhausted his options, he took to the streets.
I'd be underneath a bridge or in some bushes or in a van or something, and those nights just really pronounced on good God, I don't have to do this every night, but if I did, I mean, I don't know what I would do if I had to do it every single night back to back like that.
Give me all of your money, all of your crack money. Give me all of your change from the stock exchange.
17-year-old Veronica Pullis of Snoqualmie has been on and off the streets for the past 3 years. She says she wasn't forced to leave home like so many others. Being homeless is her choice.
I have a really great family. It's just my parents separated. My dad had to get a different job so we could support the kids because my mom left, and ended up not working out. We didn't have a lot of money. We all love each other. It was a good family. It was never abused or anything. It was great, but it's just we didn't have that much, and I found it easier to survive on my own.
Well, give me all your money for some cold beers. I promise that I won't buy food unless you really want me to.
Veronica earns spare change by street performing for the masses. She says the freedom of the vagabond gypsy lifestyle is what lured her into a life on the streets.
I have more freedom than anybody that's held down by money, so it's worth it to me to know that I can do what I want when I want and not have to answer to a boss or a teacher, anybody.
Veronica says she doesn't care that she doesn't have a permanent home. She often sleeps in abandoned buildings, on friends' couches, in front of church doorways. And last night,
I slept under a bridge in the park, and usually during the day I sit here and try and make money, try to get stoned, I don't know. Waste the day away, I guess. Try and get as much experiences as I can before I get too old for it.
But older, more experienced veterans like 23-year-old Shadowhawk warn of the weariness that sets in once the romantic attachment to the streets fades away.
Don't get stuck on the streets. It's not that great. But you might see the fun in it for a while, but it gets boring just sitting around all day. That's why a lot of the street people on the street get into alcohol or harder drugs, because it's boring out here. So they try to make their money so that they can just have fun in another way. Spare any change? Yo-yo tricks for change. If you're going to get stuck out here, do your damn best to get a job and get a place, because you don't want to be out here long, because you just get stuck the longer you're out here.
Getting stuck. Finding food. Finding a place to sleep. That's street life. We share the same city, the same sidewalks. But when darkness falls and life as we know it comes to a close, most of us return to the comfort of our homes with warm beds and running water. Sadly, they won't. When darkness falls, where do you go? When the streets are your home. There are several programs in King County that serve hot meals to homeless youth every night of the week. In fact, the motto on the street is, if you're not getting fed, you're definitely doing something wrong.
Finding a place to sleep every night is another story. There are only 2 shelters in all of King County that offer temporary housing to young people between the ages of 18 and 25. That's not nearly enough for 1,300 street kids. Under the cover of darkness, just north of the University District, a group of squatters enter an abandoned house they've made their home for the past 3 months.
We survived the winter here, like a lot of the snow and the rain, and just insufferable crap that you wouldn't want to be out in. Like any kind of human being would want to seek refuge or shelter somewhere, and this was it for a long time.
It is a growing trend. Squatters break into vacant houses and live there until they're forced to leave. Jay Lance says squatting is much safer than sleeping outdoors in an urban environment.
People get raped and killed at bridges, like stuff like that. Really bad stuff can happen. Like you never know what kind of psychopath is out there on a binge. We try to stay away from any kind of element of getting hit over the head with a pipe and robbed in the middle of the night like that, because it happens more often than not.
The floors in this squat are ankle deep in mattresses and garbage. A broken television sits forgotten in the corner, but stashed on the shelves are canned goods from food banks. The walls are painted with poetry and graffiti that express sentiment from the streets.
How do you pick a place?
Basically, I just look for a decent place that's not going to have too much water damage. This one does have some water damage in the other floors, but up here it's nice and high and dry, and normally it would be nice and clean, but when you do wake up with the police at the door, normally they either come up here and they stick guns in your faces and act like they're raiding a house in Fallujah, so you just kind of scramble around and get everything you can. And
who are they, really? Why do they want to stay here?
A lot of us come from really rough backgrounds, like you know, foster care, adoption, parents that are deceased, people that come from rough places, and then when we see the likes of each other, and we found out, like, hanging out for a couple days that we're like good people, so we just stick together, you know, take care of each other as best as we can.
Do you guys really about those spacing with some toothpick?
18-year-old Star Follendorf says she grew up near the posh Hamptons of Long Island. When she turned 14, her parents got a divorce.
We moved out here and we didn't have a lot of money. My grandparents helped, like, put the down payment on our house and, you know, put my mom through school. And I love my mom, but as of right now, she's raising my little brother on her own, and my dad doesn't really help her out too much. And my staying with her wouldn't necessarily be what's best for her, what's best for my little brother and my family. So I'm doing, in a way, herself a favor, but I'm also going out on my own and doing, you know, like what I want to do.
Like many street kids, Star makes money by spanging, the street term for asking for spare change.
Most of the time, like, you actually really need it. There are a lot of people who just spend their money on, you know, like booze and cigarettes and drugs, but, like, when you really are hungry, you need that food. You're going to starve. You're going to get sick. You can go to Westlake and, you know, like, go through the trash cans, but it's only so long before, you know, the mall closes. And, like, don't ignore us, dude. Like, yes, you have your jobs, and yes, you know, we kind of live off your kindness, but in a way, you know, spanging is like our job. It's like the way that how we make our living so that we can, yeah, no, just acknowledge our existence, because we need money to survive too, unfortunately.
Is there somebody in there?
For those who aren't squatting in houses, there are certain bridges in the Seattle area, like this one in Ravenna, that have become hot spots for homeless youth to sleep under.
No one's actually in it right now, though, so it's probably out for the day. Who comes back here for the evening, this is where he stays. One thing you will notice there, that's the cap to a hypodermic needle, so more than likely whoever's staying here is probably using some kind of IV drug, more than likely heroin.